It's 9:05 at 97.5 Glory FM. Welcome once again to the Saturday Morning Sports Show. I'm Mike Wofford. Welcome to 97.5 Glory FM live from the NGPG Sports Center. We bring you the Saturday Morning Sports Show, talking high school, college, and pro sports until 10 o'clock. We'll have special guests on the phone this morning talking about sports and local scene here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Make sure you follow us on our YouTube channel at Team Glory Sports. We bring you a live video stream of the program every Saturday morning. You get a chance also to see all the archives on our YouTube channel at Team Glory Sports. Kicking things off this morning with high school basketball action, as you heard last night here on 97.5 Glory FM. It was a Region 8 AAA doubleheader with the East Hall and West Hall teams playing for the Seth Vining Gym at East Hall in the girls' ball game. It was a close one for Brad Cochran's Lady Vikings of East Hall, winning 32-28 over Robbie Bailey's Lady Spartans of West Hall. One of the best games we've seen West Hall play in the region in a long time. And then in the boys' ball game, East Hall became East Hall, winning their third game of the season. And we kept saying that their record was not indicative of what kind of team they have. Bray Langston, he started like he has been waiting to do before he had his injury. I've been waiting for him to get back to full strength. He showed it last night. East Hall jumped out to an 11-0 lead last night and never looked back as they win 85-54 over Chuck Graham's West Hall team. Of course, Chuck will join me here this morning to talk high school basketball, also college basketball and the NBA here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Plus, we'll talk with Cassie Scott, the head girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff, in a few moments. Last night, jumped back on the winning track after falling to Oconee County back on Tuesday in Region 8 AAA play. It was the girls from Cherokee Bluff winning over the girls from Jefferson 64-44. In the boys' ball game, it was a battle between Kevin Morris's Dragons of Jefferson and Coach Josh Travis's team from Cherokee Bluff, with the Dragons coming out on top in a close one. First loss in region play for the Bears, and now it is Jefferson's place in Region 8 AAA. They'll wrap up the first half of the region schedule next week with 2 games for all the teams there in the 6-team Region 8 AAA race. Also last night in 6 AAA play up in Dahlonega, it was North Hall and Lumpkin County splitting a region doubleheader, with the North Hall girls pulling off a big win over Brian Richards' girls from Lumpkin County, and it was Lumpkin County boys winning over the North Hall boys in a close one, 80-74 last night up in Dahlonega. Up in Cleveland, it was County and White County splitting a doubleheader, with the Dawson County boys and the White County girls winning. The White County girls get back on the winning track after losing 2 straight region games to Pickens and to GAC. They won a close one last night. Really, it was closer than we really thought it was going to be from the standpoint with Coach Shedd's team from White County winning over Dawson County. Then in the boys' ball game, it was Todd Cottrell's team from Dawson County with a big win over Miles Kendall's of White County. Gainesville's boys, they remain undefeated on the season, and they are still ranked in the top 10 in the nation. As Charlemagne Gibbons Red Elephants, they defeat the Second Jaguars last night in region play. The Lakeview Academy boys won their 11th straight game as they were victorious last night over Dominion Christian in non-region play. Elsewhere around the area, it was Flyer Branch's boys falling to east side of Covington down in New last night. Long road trip as always for the Falcons last night, falling to the east side Eagles. And also it was the Buford boys with a big upset over 6th-ranked DeCule last night in Class 6A play in Region 8 6A action from last night. Coming up next, we'll talk with Coach Cassie Scott, the head coach of the Lady Bears of Cherokee Bluff, here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM, with that live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports.
Plumbing service, Conditioned Air Systems is here for you. Our plumbers deliver the highest quality service in North Georgia 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. We've been North Georgia's source for elite residential and commercial services since 1983. Our licensed plumbers offer services for installation and repairs of pipes, water heaters, septic lines, and sump pumps. Choose Conditioned Air Systems for quality service and unmatched knowledge for your plumbing needs.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over. That's why PG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Bushton, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
97.5 Glory FM.
11 minutes past 9 o'clock here on this Saturday morning. Let's go to the phones now and talk with Coach Cassie Scott, the head girls coach of the Cherokee Bluff Lady Bears. Hey, Cassie.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Big win last night.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for our program. We've been in a bit of a slump the last couple weeks, so getting a big region win against a good team, that's always a good feeling.
Well, when you hear about a slump, I don't think about that with your team right now. So what's been the cause?
Just a tough schedule. We had a tough within our December and early January. And our Christmas break, I was telling another coach that I was talking, we played 7 games in 2 weeks. And then all of our losses, we're at 9 losses right now, and about, I want to say 7 of them are from ranked teams in the state from their respective classifications. So it's been brutal. Our girls were exhausted and playing through it, and we found a way, losing a close one to Oconee on Tuesday by 1 point was just kind of like, okay, we gotta figure something out. So they came out good and ready to go on Friday, and it was a lot of fun.
Yep, going back to losing that game back on Tuesday at Oconee County, that's sort of a wake-up call. Okay, got to fix something, and then last night everything worked for you against Jefferson.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. Claire had kind of gone into what every shooter faces, where they just hit that slump where they're getting the shots off, just nothing is falling.
Mm-hmm.
And she had been in that the last couple games, and last night she finished with 24. She found her groove again, and so that definitely boosted us over the hump that we needed to get over, because Claire and Bristol, everyone knows if they're scoring, they get everybody else involved as well. And we had 4 scorers last night. Everybody did their part, and when we're able to do that, we're really hard to beat. So I was proud of the way they came out last night.
Can't let everybody know, we got 4 weeks left of the regular season, and I go back to a comment that former Flyer Branch girls coach Hazel Hall made to me probably more than 10 years ago. And it was like the schedule. And it's like, okay, when you start hitting mid-January into February, getting ready for region tournament, you can't run out of gas, and you got to be in condition. But at the same time, the schedule can be grueling, and you got to say, okay, maybe we're overscheduling things with these girls sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I don't know that I overscheduled. The challenge of it really when we were creating our schedule was no one wanted to play us.
Yep.
And if they wanted to play us, they didn't want to play the boys team. So we ran into some challenges with that, but I don't think I would go back on making any changes to our schedule. I want to make sure our girls are prepped mentally, physically, emotionally, and with the schedule that we face this non-region this year, we did all that so that when we make it to the playoffs at that point, we've already been in situations like that. We know how to overcome them. And last night was proof of that. You have a tough game on Tuesday where you lose by 1 point because nothing is going your way.
Mm-hmm.
But then you come out Friday ready to go, and we're able to bounce back the way we needed to. That gave the insight of what I'm saying. I'm not just saying for fun. It's everything will be okay, and it will work itself out.
Well, it was talking to Coach Cassie Scott, the girls' coach at Cherokee Bluff. Think about it, is they're going to be tournament ready, and the big thing is though. Tell me how, and everybody know, does this new format schedule in this top 32 nonsense, I'll call it. When you start having a bunch of losses, does that affect you at all when it comes to what's going to happen in the playoffs? Or you just go ahead and say, okay, we got to win our region tournament?
It's there's a lot of factors that go into it, but for the 3A classifications and down, they go by the point system.
Right.
So the strength of your schedule matters when it gets to that point. Not necessarily the losses. They look more at the opponents and their schedule and point system, and there's a whole thing that goes into it. But winning region helps because whoever wins their regions automatically get placed in the seeding 1 through 8, and then they factor in your strength of schedule and points in that. So that's how we ended up in the position we were last year. We finished our region 3rd place, ended up winning it, and then got the 4th seeding because of our strength of schedule. So we just got to, we got to take it one game at a time, and we got to win the big ones when it matters, and I think our girls are prepped to do that.
Oh, no doubt. That loss against Oconee, this shows you how difficult this region can be at times, and how everybody can beat up each other. That's why I thought last night was so impressive, being Jefferson by 20 points.
Yeah, Oconee, they're all tough teams. They're well coached. And a lot of these teams have a lot of girls that returned. Oconee is one of them, and they got an elite freshman. She's going to be really good years to come too. And it just we just didn't play well Tuesday, and I think like you said earlier, that was kind of the wake up call that we needed. Like, hey, region is here. Everything we do from here on out matters. So Friday, it was just I felt good going into the game. I had to give them a day off Wednesday, let everybody reset. We had a little coming to Jesus meeting on Thursday, where we just had to sit and sort things out as a team collectively and figure it out. Had a good practice, and then, like I said, Friday, just going into the game just felt really good.
That's great.
And they showed it. They played hard, and they earned that win.
So you wrap up the first half of the region schedule next week with 2 games on Tuesday and Friday. So how do you look at the day off in school on Monday? Do you give the girls any time off, or what do you do?
I did give them some time off. We needed that. We haven't had a full weekend off, if I'm honest. So it was a good time. This time around was a good time for us to kind of just take a breather, bodies rest a bit, and then just get back on track. Our girls are resilient, and I'm excited for the rest of the season and what they're going to do to come out and prepare for that. But this was a good weekend for us to take some time.
Well, to me, they're going to be fine. It's like, okay, I'm looking for them to make another run for another state championship.
Yeah, and we talked about that. I think I don't add any added pressure from what we did last season, but the outside noise does. It's all the things you hear, and why aren't they winning games? They have everyone back, and this. What people don't understand is we have everyone back, but the dynamics of it have changed with everyone who is back. Just things that they're dealing with personally. We got girls that are committed. We got, one young lady that she had a baby, and she still showed up and is playing her senior year, and she's handling that really well. It's just that our dynamics have changed, and we're figuring it out. And like I said, I love these girls. I believe in them, and I truly believe we're going to be fine. We just got to stay with the one game at a time mentality, one practice at a time.
Casey, people don't understand what you just said. Is that people got to understand this team could have been totally different. You could have had the girls say, okay, I'm going to Notre Dame to play soccer. I'm a mama now. I'm not going to play anymore. Could change the dynamics totally after you lose one of your key players at graduation. Then you're like rebuilding, and all of a sudden these girls showed their love for you and this team and this school by saying, we're going to play. When I get through last game of the season, whenever it is, I'm going to Notre Dame and play soccer. Hey, I'm going to be a mom, and I'm going to play basketball, and give them all the credit in the world for what they're doing.
Absolutely, and I don't think people always take that into consideration when they see Cherokee Bluff. I think it's just, and I'm not saying it in a negative way at all, but I just think people have a misconception of, well, everyone is back. Yes, and it's great, but within a year's time, everyone's life has taken a change for the better. and there are things that we have to factor from the outside of what's going on. And these high school athletes, they deal with a lot. They do a lot. Emery Jones is another prime example of that. The girls call her Miss Do Everything because she is very involved in our community at Cherokee Bluff with, theater, choir. She does track. She does basketball. She does comp cheer. Emery is the golden child. Like, she does it all. And so there's a lot of things that these girls do outside of basketball that we're learning how to deal with. But at the end of the day, I always remind them it's bigger than what basketball is going to give you. Basketball will teach you life lessons.
Oh, sure.
But, we're trying to build young women in this society and teach them how to work through adversity and accountability and things like that. So as long as we're always winning in that area, I will always be proud of them.
And you're doing that, no doubt about it. Cassie, thanks. I appreciate it very much. Great one last night. Congratulations. We'll talk next week, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it very much. That is Cassie Scott, the head girls basketball coach of the defending state champion Lady Bears at Cherokee Bluff, winning last night over Jefferson by a score of 64-44. Coming up next, we'll talk with Chuck Graham on boys basketball on 97.5 Glory FM with the Saturday Morning Sports Show.
Ever feel like your house is just missing a little something? Custom window treatments can go a long way to making your house feel like a home. Call Millie's Drapery and Decorating today for the best in custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. We can schedule for one of our designers to come out to your home, take measurements, and give you an estimate right there on site. That's Millie's Drapery and Decorating, 1732 Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, or give us a call at 770-532-3819.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
97.5 Glory FM.
Your radio station for North Georgia sports. Let's go to the phones down and talk boys basketball with Chuck Graham here on this Saturday morning. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Are you on a speakerphone?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better, but you know better than that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Sorry I missed you last night. That was one of those games. Everybody knows that we mentioned East Hall can be East Hall, and that last night probably was their foundation. Things that come rest of the way.
Yeah, definitely, man. Even them getting out to that good start, kind of, they played fast. They looked kind of like the East Hall of last year, and I think the Langston kid, he played his role, and he looked a little more explosive last night.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's getting healthier. That's the thing about it. And
yes.
You played them back at Lanierland. Much of a bucket, wasn't he?
Yeah, man, he was explosive, and I think some of the other kids now with that group are finding their way. And that's so big, during the course of a season, because the season is a marathon.
Yep.
You going into it, you understand that there's always room for growth and development during the season, which is really tough in the individual standpoint. But the more games kids play, the more comfortable they get. The game kind of slows down. So I can see that in that East Hall team. And, again, you can throw the records out. I know the interview you had with Coach Cassie a few minutes ago. She even mentioned that things change in high school basketball, and being able to make the adjustments actually, puts you ahead of the curve, and you're able to compete.
No doubt about it. Tell everybody about, there's one player that I think a lot of people don't know about, and that's your best player in Troy Smith.
Man, Troy's, people always say he is a coach's dream. I mean, first of all, he's a better person than he is a basketball player, and I think that's why he's going to be successful in whatever he chooses in his next chapter of his life. But Troy, he came in from day one as a 10th grader here when I actually got to West Hall from Peachtree Ridge, and he's a gym rat. He loves to get better. He takes coaching. His parents are super supportive. They let me coach him hard, and and it shows. I mean, he's definitely put the work in, man. But I'm more proud of the person and the leader he's becoming than I am like his exploits on the basketball court.
And that's what it's all about. No, but not about talking with Chuck Graham, the boys basketball coach at West Hall, talking about boys basketball last night. You heard right here, it was East Hall with a big win over the Spartans. But it was another big win last night in that region with Jefferson over Cherokee Bluff last night. That was a battle.
Man, our region is turning into something. It's going to be something to see during the second half of the schedule as we wrap up with 2 more games apiece for everyone, and then we go back to the second half of the region. But a huge win for Jefferson. They're playing some really good basketball. I know they played East Hall last Friday and actually won a tight game.
Mm-hmm.
But
sure did.
To beat Bluff was huge for them. So things are shaping up, man. It's gonna be a stretch. And in terms of us, we suffered another injury last night with Nate Emmert going down early in the first quarter.
I was going to ask you about him. How's he doing?
He's better. Sprain, of course, he has a little more pain this morning. But, I mean, I think he'll be fine. We have a week off. We play Jefferson next Friday at Jefferson. If everything goes right, I expect him to play. But, once you have an injury like that to one of your key players, sometimes it changes the entire game plan,
sure.
and then you have to make adjustments. And, so that didn't help us last night. But I'm looking forward to every opportunity we get to compete, man, is a gift from above. So we're looking forward to it.
Right there, let's change gears for a moment. Basketball's gotten to the point now where it's almost like I compare it to music, whereas you can sing the notes, but you can't make music. You can go out there and you play basketball, but don't know why you're playing it. And it's just like if you have the right foundation, all the difference in the world can make in a players' lives and how they play on the basketball court. You've seen that from your time playing. I see that now in college basketball, for example. Everybody, it seems like now I'm playing for the money, and they don't have the love of the game anymore, do they?
Yeah, it's turning into more so of instead of what can I extract from the game in terms of life lessons. And, you hope that's always the main course. But when you add money, especially into the college game, it becomes more so, do I love the game or do I love what the game can do for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can't shortcut success, right? Even though, you add an element of money into it. I don't think it's really any loyalty in the college game right now. Football also with the portal.
Oh, yeah.
And then so many kids jumping into the portal. But sports gives us an opportunity, to come together and learn how to deal with adversity. And you just hope that never fades. But when you add money into that element, man, I think it kind of clouds the whole reason why we do this.
Isn't that the reason why the NBA's gone down the way it has?
Well, NBA, some of the guys, I believe, and this is just my opinion, I think some of the guys are really not professionals when they sign their first NBA contract. I think that the development piece is missing.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you think about guys like Michael Jordan, who spent 3 years in college.
Yep.
So he was a proven product when he stepped onto an NBA floor. Now these guys are getting basically drafted on potential. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those deals. I mean, you can blame the NBA, but you really can't because these young men have worked hard and put themselves in position. I just think it's just a little more of the maturation process has to be figured out before you can move on and make that next jump. Because you just can't shortcut like success. You can't.
Oh yeah. So how patient can you be with the Hawks, for example? Because people say, they made this trade with Trey now. Let's win. But they don't realize the Hawks have been just rattled with the injuries of this past week of this West Coast road trip. Is okay. How patient can you be with these young guys?
Well, I mean, and now I think, like I said, with the Hawks, I think you have to think bigger picture, and it can't be a short-term vision. Yep. So trading Trey, and now you see, and you hope that these young guys can mature into NBA professionals. Now, a promising road trip. You started out with a win against New Orleans, and you go to Denver and you get a win, and then you win at Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Which now you win 3 games out of this 5-game swing, and then the most, I think the loss that really turned the tide, and the injuries really showed themselves, the game against the Lakers.
Yes, sir.
Because we really wasn't in that game at all.
No.
And then you come back, and I thought it was going to be a bounce-back game. You can come back and get Portland, but, Portland was able to pull out a victory. So,
yep.
But a tough game tomorrow. Tonight, actually, against the Celtics.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
At home. So what a good opportunity, without Trey, for these young guys to show, what they're made of. And again, Johnson is playing not at MVP status, but he's definitely in the conversation. He leads the Hawks in points, rebounds, points, assists, and shooting percentage.
The season's more than halfway over now, and let's see if we have the jet lag also from going to the West Coast back home will affect the Hawks this evening. Hey, have a good weekend, buddy, and enjoy your day off on Monday. We'll talk next time, okay?
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you. God bless, Mike.
I appreciate it much. Hey, this is Chuck Graham, our boys basketball expert here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll turn our sides to football. We'll talk with Harper LaBelle and more here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM with that live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
And back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. We talked basketball during the first half of the show. Now it's time to talk football with Harper LaBelle. Hey, Harper.
Well, Mike, could be a very, very busy weekend, right? The game starts this afternoon at 4:30, NFL games, and then the national championship on Monday evening. Could be a great weekend for everybody. Hope you get a chance to enjoy it.
I'm going to enjoy the weekend. I miss football I will watch from that standpoint, but from the standpoint, you got NFL today, NFL tomorrow, and then you got the national championship on Monday with the climax of the entire weekend. And you wonder what's going to have more emphasis, the game on Monday night or these NFL games getting ready for the conference championships next week. And Harper, the first thing I've got to ask you about with your background is about weather. There's a couple of cold weather games being played this weekend, and do the visiting teams, are they going to be, behind by the time they get out there in the field with where the weather's going to be?
Well, I think it won't affect Buffalo as much going to Denver as Houston going to New England. I think that'll be a big difference. And then the Rams, of course, going to Chicago. Rams are the only team, the road team, that's favored. I think the spread is 4.5. At least that's what it's been most of the week, and all of them are going to be super important. The winners get to play for the conference championship, and they're one step closer to the Super Bowl. If you don't mind, Mike, real quick, if Buffalo loses this game to a very good Denver team, and their defense is absolutely lights out. Denver is amazing. They're third in the league in terms of points given up. But in this little tournament that we got right now, all the top 4 defenses in the league will be playing either today or tomorrow. Chicago's defense is 23rd overall in terms of points given up, and the Rams are 10th.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else is either 1, 2, 3, and 4, with the exception of San Francisco. Long story short, Mike, if Denver wins and Buffalo loses, do you break the team up? Because this is the first year without, Patrick Mahomes and Brady and all of the obstacles that have been in Buffalo's way over the past several years.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all removed. It's basically is Josh Allen and the team ramped up enough to be able to get Buffalo to the Super Bowl for the first time since the Jim Kelly area. So it's a lot of interesting perspectives in terms of what may happen to the losers, but let's celebrate the games themselves and look at what the winners can do.
The thing about you get to a certain level, don't you, sometimes? Then it's like you can't get past that level, but some people are not happy until you get past that level. And then people like the Falcons want to get to a level like Buffalo losing all the Super Bowls they've lost, and the same thing with Denver. The interesting game today, I think, is going to be San Francisco and Seattle, and how well is the quarterback there at Seattle? Did he tweak an oblique, and can he even play tonight?
Yeah, Sam is one of those guys that over the past couple of years, can we give him a mulligan for playing for the Jets? Because anyone that plays for the Jets has to deal with that kind of trauma. But what on earth happened there stays there, hopefully. But last year with Minnesota, they were tied for the best record in the league, and then they lose pretty badly in the playoffs. And Darnold can't do it. So is he going to be able to beat? They split the series. Each team, they played the first and the last game, oddly scheduled, where the 49ers and Seattle played. The winner wins. The winner is the road team in each one of those games. So does that have any bearing at all? I don't think so. This is a playoff game. And Seattle get a chance to rest for close to 2 weeks, a day or two short of that. And I'll be honest with you, I think they're going to come out fired up. Their fans are amazing. They love the team, and fresh legs, especially at playoff time, and the number of injuries that the 49ers have. I just think it might be a little bit too much for them to overcome. They're a 7-point favorite, by far the biggest of this weekend.
Tamari mentioned the Rams and the Bears. Do the Rams have the advantage because of their experience in playoffs, where this basically is a new experience here for this team with Chicago? Yeah,
but look what happened last week. They were down. I heard a story, and I cannot prove this, but Grady Jarrett, former Falcon, is on the Bears.
Yep.
And they were losing 21-3 at halftime, or whatever the score was.
Yep.
And Grady says, I was on the wrong end of a 28-3 halftime in the Super Bowl. Let's not let that happen to us. And the team came out, and it wasn't instantaneous, but they had one of the best fourth quarters you could ever imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
Playoff football. They scored 25 points, and they end up winning this game. And that's the part that it's an intangible for me. Mike, remember when Brent Musburger and Irv Cross, and then you had Jimmy the Greek, and they would break down games, and Jimmy would call them the intangibles. He had this little board, and the intangibles was the stuff that you can't really measure the same way. It's not just special team play, but, hey, this team is hot. This team believes in themselves. And this other team, they've lost 2 out of the last 3. I give X team my intangible vote, and I would do that definitely with the Rams in many respects. But you have to also trust that the Bears are playing with house money right now, and they believe in themselves in a way that's very genuine. It's unique, and you want to be along for that ride because especially at home, you don't know what's going to happen in the fourth quarter, and it may be a last possession that helps them win the game.
Yep, you think they're at Soldier Field. People think about the mid-'80s with the old Bears with Mike Ditka and that kind of thing and all the greats they had there. But this is a much different team, really compared to what Sean McVay's got there with the Rams. And I think a lot of people are going to compare quarterback to quarterback, and you really can't do that, can you?
Yeah, there's so many other. You can, in a way, it goes, hey, my quarterback threw for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, but the other quarterback won. So, that happened once when I was with the Falcons. We were playing in Green Bay. We had a playoff game. And at the end of the game, Mouse Davis, our offensive coordinator, walked around the locker room with a bunch of stats in his hand. He goes, we outthrew them today. We gained more yards than they did today, and our completion percentage was higher than them. And Bobby Hebert said, yeah, but who won the game? They did. They won the game. I don't care. I don't care if we don't have any yards on offense. Did we win the game? And that's the most important thing. Ben Johnson has that Bears team believing in themselves in a way that they haven't had as a franchise for decades. So it's exciting to watch. But the Rams, you asked a little bit earlier. Please forgive me for delaying it. But last year they go to Philadelphia, and it's a last possession thing. 2 years ago they were very good. They end up losing in the second round of the playoffs. The Rams are a good football team. They're solid. Their defense can play. And their offense with Matthew Stafford is second to none, right? They can throw it. They can run the ball well. They're the top-scoring team in the league, so you have to watch out for them. They are dangerous. But they also lost, 3 out of their last 4 games or whatever it was, 2 out of 3, I know. And they may not have the same confidence that they needed to. But, playoff football brings out the best in many players. And if you're a Ram fan, you hope that they're able to squeak out a win on the road
And you
and get
are?
themselves one step closer to the Super Bowl.
And you are a Rams fan, aren't you? Being an LA guy.
Well, I grew up. My mother's from Minnesota, so I love the colors, the uniform. And Fran Tarkenton. I loved the
yes.
Vikings when I was a kid. But yeah, growing up in Los Angeles, I mean, that was it. That was, there was college football, obviously, but the Rams were a big part of that. Roman Gabriel, remember, he'd stand up, and he's 6'5". He couldn't bend his ankles, knees, or hips, or even his lower back. So he was one of those stand-up quarterbacks that I used to really enjoy watching when I was just a little
my
weaker.
goodness, yes. A little boy, I told you before I went that first Falcons game there in 1966 with Randy Johnson for the Falcons, and there was Roman Gabriel there with George Allen there for the Los Angeles Rams. And you mentioned before about Buffalo. What happens to the Rams if they lose tomorrow? You got Matthew Stafford, a veteran in the league. You got this new quarterback with the Bears and their defense there. And so if the Rams don't win, Sean McVay, okay, well, what do we do here now?
Yeah. Well, they have so much money invested in Stafford. I think they really, I'm going to use the word they babied him. Remember a few years ago, the Falcons had Tony Gonzalez, and he didn't even have to show up for training camp. They just told him as he was getting older, just be ready for game one.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like that, and it was just unusual, because why do I have to go through training camp if that guy doesn't? That doesn't make sense. Well, he's a Hall of Famer, that's why. And they're justifying it like this guy can play better than just about anybody on any team at any time. So I get it. And Stafford may have earned the same type of thing. He showed up about 2.5 weeks after training camp started. Said his back was bothering him. I don't know if it was or not. I think they were just giving him a chance to ramp up slowly. He's almost 40. He doesn't need to, be doing 2 days live drills, 9-on-7 in week one. He just doesn't need to be a part of that. So whether they get one more year out of him, I don't know. But they have really been a plug-and-play team for the last 4 or 5 years, ever since they actually won it. So I celebrate what they do as an organization, and if they don't win it this year, I don't think they're going to have the same type of rebuild that what Buffalo might be doing.
Well, we'll talk with Harper Bell, our pro football and college football expert here on 97.5 Glory FM. Of course, you can go to his podcast. I encourage you to check it out, 100 Yards of Football, and you'll learn a lot about the insides of pro football and college football. Also, talk about a couple of things, buddy. The way the league is right now, what happens in Kansas City? What happens in Philadelphia now?
Philly's it's a little bit different because you had the injuries, and especially when you're quarterback, the franchise gets hurt in Patrick Mahomes. And you notice that there is a marketable slowdown in some of your older players. I think there's a roster change imminent for them, not with Mahomes, of course, but with some of the other guys, to see who can not replace, but who can step up and be the next guy who becomes the starter and maybe a Pro Bowl type player, especially offensive line. I think they learned very quickly that if you're going to spend all your money on one guy, which is what most teams do with their quarterback, you better have a bunch of young, very good, healthy backups. The L.A. Chargers, for example, their starting tackles, left and right, were both injured early in the year. And you see what a problem it was for them. The consistency in their line play was not there. And Herbert he struggled mightily. Mahomes was running for his life mightily. Buffalo has had times where Josh Allen has looked fantastic and other times where he's weak. So we've already mentioned them. I know that the Eagles' offensive line was hurt, banged up. Detroit, the same thing. So there are some teams that absolutely need to reinvent themselves or get their guys healthy and better and hope that they can play all 16, 17, maybe 18 or 20 games, depending on how deep you go in the playoffs.
All right, so give me an evaluation of all these coaching changes that are taking place right now, and who is the big guy to get. Of course, when you see John Harbaugh leave Baltimore and then goes right to the Giants, and it's okay, what's wrong with the Ravens? And then the situation with the Browns, for example, and you mentioned about putting all in for a quarterback. That coach there, he may have had no win situation. They say he was a 2-time coach of the year. Then you see what happens with a franchise, and they're losing franchises, you well know. And you maybe have outstanding people. They're coaches. They're just in bad situations.
I believe the number was 41 different quarterbacks had started in Cleveland.
Oh, my goodness.
Since the year 2000 or whenever they had a regime change.
Mm-hmm.
41 different quarterbacks.
Wow.
That's a culture issue, Mike. That's a problem with what's going on within, and that's not always fixable because the owner is not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager usually stays or he's the president of the organization. He doesn't change, that's for sure. The person who's in charge of operations to make sure everybody's happy with what they've got. Those are stable portions of any organization or franchise. And, I think the coaches now are doing a much deeper dive. Instead of, I'll take any job, anywhere, anytime, they're going, wait a second, I have a selection.
Mm-hmm.
I may not want to go to Cleveland as much as I would rather go to fill in the blank, let's say Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tennessee and the New York Giants is where Harbaugh kind of had his eye. Young quarterbacks,
Mm-hmm.
lots of cap room, young lineup that can be replaced, bring in a few veterans here. I can make this team a playoff caliber organization in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Versus going to Cleveland where you go, it may take 4. Or go to Atlanta where I don't know what I'm going to have because there's a cap issue or there's a culture problem. So I think they're weighing it very carefully, and Harbaugh, if he does, the sources say that's where he's going to go. And if he does, good for him. He's made a decision that's based on a lot of facts as opposed to fiction, and whatever's best for him and whatever he can do to make that organization better in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah, he's there, we understand, and a lot of money for him. But the big question now is, who's the next big guy? You got, a lot of openings right now, and it's okay for Falcons fans. It's okay. Are we going to be settling for, like the draft board? You want the best available guy. Okay, was John Harbaugh the best available guy? Then now who's next? Who's next? Are you going down the picking order, maybe get the 4th, 5th, 6th guy, or is somebody you wouldn't even think about?
I know it's interesting, and part of it is because the Falcons have publicly said that they've got a committee that they've hired to help make that decision. I don't know if the top coaches want that. Remember last year, Bill Belichick was on Arthur's yacht twice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was close. Well, this is a couple years ago, and they went with Raheem Morris. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Made a decision. So there are some coaches that say that's not the best fit for me.
Yep.
So you got to look at it both ways. You want to get the best guy that's out there, but you don't know if he wants to be with your group of organizations. So you got to be really careful about how your culture is. And sometimes what you say isn't always matched up with what it looks like from the rest of the league's perspective.
From that standpoint, help me out here. Okay, is there still a committee, or what role does Matt Ryan have?
As president of football operations, pretty much Matt will be the stamp that approves just about everything. I think he'll be the go-between with Arthur and McKay and Beatles and everybody else that's part of that organization. They're going to at least attempt to trust his decision. They're still going to be a part of it. He's only been in the job for a week, Mike, so I know he doesn't know everything yet. So how they meet as a board, how they meet as a group, or just as individuals and have lunch together and talk about things, it'll be a growing process where Matt's role will obviously be like what John always is. I'm going to run the team. I'm going to get you everything you need, from making sure the buses have gas and that everybody gets their room key when you're on the road, to who we bring in and approving the salary cap and who the coaches are going to be. All of that will be a part of what Matt's responsibilities, and he will have to answer to Arthur for that.
Is the big question for the Falcons, the coach is going to be the best fit for Michael Penix Jr.?
Yeah, that's obviously a part of. Here's what I had heard, Mike, that Harbaugh spent some time, hours, looking at game film of Jackson Dart.
Wow.
And maybe even Ole Miss from a year or two ago,
mm-hmm.
as well as this rookie season. Maybe some practice film. I think he wanted access to all of that. I want to see what I've got here. I want to see if this guy's coachable. I want to see if he has the arm strength, the leadership ability, the talent, and the want to. You got to include all of those things.
Sure.
Even the intangibles, Mike, that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think any coach would want to do the same thing. Let me look at who Michael Penix is. I know that Kirk Cousins basically is the starter at this moment in time. Michael's several months away from coming back because of his knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
But what have I got? What is the future of this organization if Bijan gets hurt, or if Chris Lindstrom decides that he wants to be a free agent next year and test the market?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you lose some of those key pieces. That all has to be equated before you sign on the dotted line. At least the good coaches that take the time to be able to do that, and then still be able to look Arthur Blank right in the face and go, I know what I've got here, and I'm the best man for the job. You want to hire me. I'm the one here to take you to that next level.
You know, I always go back, you may remember this, when Steve Spurrier, when he left South Carolina and Sean Elliott took over for him. And he said one of the best comments I'll always remember, he said, when I took this job at South Carolina, I was the best man for the job. He said, I'm not the best man for the job now. It's time for me to leave. And then they got, the interim coach there and then went from that standpoint. Right now, I don't know who's the best man for the Falcon job. Do you?
Well, no, I don't right at the moment because neither do they. And until they get that figured out, I can look at all of the options that are available. And this is a heavy year, Mike. You got 9 openings.
Yes.
And if Buffalo loses badly later today, you might have a 10th.
Mm-hmm.
I think if San Francisco loses, they'll be fine. You know, their issue is injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of the other 4 teams that are playing, New England, Houston, LA Rams, and Chicago, will have a change. But normally it's anywhere between 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. And I thought 7 would be high, but it's 9 this year. So there's a lot of impatient owners and fans that are looking for whatever it is. And do you go with a young guy that is a defensive or offensive coordinator?
Mm-hmm.
That's the hot name? Those are, or do you go with a guy that's been a retread? Do you hire Pete Carroll to be your guy? Because, Pete's available, and he's been around, and he's won. And he was just in a horrible situation that doesn't matter. Mike, you and I would have struggled
in God bless him.
In Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas was just, and now with Tom Brady there, you wonder what's going to change, if anything, there with the Raiders. All right, let's turn to Monday Night Football. It's going to be the national championship in Miami on the Hurricanes' home field there with a former Georgia quarterback there. Everybody saying, okay, he can't win this game. He can't. And there's the Indiana fans, and you're going, who? You got to think Indiana's got to win this ball game big, don't you?
You mentioned my podcast. We did a show last night with Juan Daniels, former Georgia wide receiver, and we do an SEC show. His son, Ashton, went to Buford High School, and he went to Stanford. He got his degree, entered the portal, was in Auburn this past year, and he has one more year remaining. He's going to go to Florida State. But Juan is a very smart guy, and he told us last night, he goes, I've been watching film. I went back and I looked at the Penn State-Indiana game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed at how for 3.5, almost 4 full quarters, Penn State dominated. They were bigger than Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
They played well. They were a mess in terms of a football team because they had lost their coach and they had lost 3 or 4 games in a row. They lost to UCLA, if you remember.
Yep.
They were still searching for their way. But I think Penn State said, not in our building. We are not going to lose to these guys. We're not going to lose to Indiana. We've never lost to Indiana. They were bigger up front, and they kind of pushed Indiana around in a way that they weren't used to. And Indiana really had to fight hard, and Mendoza had a great fourth quarter, and they came back and they won. Juan's point was this. The offensive line, especially for the University of Miami, is huge. They're a big group of guys. They look like those Texas teams from the last couple of years or what Georgia was able to put out there. And if they're able to manhandle the defensive line for Indiana, you may want to watch out. Their defense is lightning quick and fast, and that's something that Indiana isn't ready for. You can't get ready for speed that you haven't seen in practice. They don't have the same amount of guys. Indiana doesn't have any 5-star guys on their team.
Yep.
And they've only got a bunch of 4. They're a bunch of 3-star guys that are playing as hard as they can.
You love it.
I just don't know, Mike. This is one of those games that it could turn out to be where the faster, more finesse-type style that Miami plays could really be a determining factor in really messing up everything that Indiana does.
But
they're well coached, Indiana. You know Indiana's well coached, and so they're going to be ready for just about anything.
Don't mess it up, though, but can you imagine what the committee's going to say if Miami wins this thing overall? No way they should have even been in the thing, much less win it, you know?
They didn't win their conference championship. They got in by default. You know, they were not a favorite by any means, right? I agree with you. And then for them to win the whole thing and for them to be the hottest team in the country when they needed to be, what a slap in the face to any other school. Remember last year it was Ole Miss and it was South Carolina going, hey, we're playing as good as anybody. We deserve a shot to be in this thing.
Yes, sir. All right, so it's coming up. And think about that intangible, playing there, the home of the Hurricanes, just with the weather. I don't know, something just tells me Carson Beck may be the MVP of this thing and stun the Georgia fans, you know?
Yeah, as if Georgia fans need any more reason to get mad at whoever wins the national championship, having getting knocked off by Ole Miss a couple weeks ago. It's just, you know, they're so good. Kirby is one of those guys. Look at Clemson real quick, Mike, and how they became a darling of the nation and how quickly they fell off just from this year alone. Kirby hasn't had anything to be embarrassed about. He's had some great teams. He's got all kinds of guys that are leaving and going and playing on Sundays in the National Football League. It's a well-run organization, and the school should be very happy that they've got a guy that's as driven as he is. You're not going to win it every year. You wish you could. You've got two. I know you want a third, and when you get the third, you're going to want four. I get it. Ask Alabama. That's what that's like. But the Georgia program is in great hands.
All right, buddy. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week, okay?
Appreciate it, Mike. Enjoy. There's only, 5 games, but they're all going to be fantastic.
All right, that is Harper LaBelle here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up. We'll talk college basketball with Dave Cohen as we bring you Georgia State basketball this afternoon on 97.5 Glory FM.
Chick-fil-A is a proud sponsor of Hall County athletics and the great student athletes that compete on the fields, courts, tracks, and mats. Chick-fil-A was introduced into Hall County way back in 1987 at Lakeshore Mall. Throughout the years, they've been blessed to develop countless relationships with the schools here in Hall County. They're thanking everyone for their support of Chick-fil-A, which allows them to help support our schools, coaches, and student athletes. In Gainesville, you'll find Chick-fil-A on Jesse Jewell Parkway. Eat more chicken!
The landscape of North Georgia continues to change, and when you're looking to buy a home or land, you need someone who knows the real estate market. Turn to Chris McCall Realty. Chris has been serving the Hall and surrounding counties for 27 years. He specializes in residential real estate. Whether it's home, land, acreage, or farms, customer satisfaction is most important to him. Find out more today. Log online to McCallProperties.com.
If you need on-time...
2 minutes left here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. We're going to talk basketball, preview our game today with Georgia State. Here's David Cohen live from Monroe, Louisiana. Hey, David. I'm doing great, sir. How are you this morning?
Always wonderful to wake up in Monroe, Louisiana. Georgia State and the Warhawks coming up here on Glory 97.5 this afternoon at 3:15 with our pregame show with head coach Jonas Hayes. Mike, the Panthers have won 5 of their last 8 games, coming off a win over Marshall in Atlanta this past week. This is a trap game. Louisiana Monroe winless in the Sun Belt at 0-6 and 3-15 overall. We got to get out of Monroe with a W.
And you sure the Saturday's been really good for us here. You know it.
They sure have. It's the Glory 97.5 FM effect on Georgia State basketball. But yeah, we got back-to-back Saturday wins. Coastal Carolina, actually the last 3 Saturdays,
yes,
like Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, and Marshall have all been in the win column.
All right, so 3:15 pregame show, right? Tip off at 3:30?
That is the plan, yes.
All right, I'll talk to you then, okay? I appreciate it very much, Dave. We got things. We'll wrap things up here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM. College basketball today at 3:15 of the pregame show. Tip at 3:30 as Georgia State goes up against the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. Only here on your home for Georgia State basketball, 97.5 Glory FM.
97.5 Glory FM is WGTJ.